live like you wanna. Let yesterday burn and go within a fire. In a fire, in a fire. Live like a warrior. Today, live like you wanna. Let yesterday burn and go within a fire. In a fire, in a fire. Live like a warrior. There's some things you should let go. Only gonna pull you down. Just like weight on your shoulder. It's only gonna make you drown. All swing high, we all swing low. We all got secrets people don't know. We all got dreams that we can't let go. We wanna be brave, don't be afraid, no. Today, live like you wanna. Let yesterday burn and go within a fire. In a fire, in a fire. Live like a warrior. Today, live like you wanna. Let yesterday burn and go within a fire. In a fire. Live like a warrior, 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 warrior.
Welcome to the Breakfast Show.
So heavy from things you carried a long time. You've been up, you've been down. You're tired and you don't know why. But you're never gonna go back. You only live one life. Let go, let go, let go, let go, let go, let go, let go. Today, live like you wanna. Let yesterday burn and go in a fire, in a fire, in a fire. Live like a warrior. Today, live like you wanna. Let yesterday burn and go in a fire, in a fire, in a fire. Live like a warrior. Live like a warrior. Live like a warrior. Oh, yeah, yeah, mama, yeah, yeah. Oh, oh. Right here on the bass, right here, this is Mr. Jason Fraticelli on the bass. Jason Fraticelli. Thank you. How's everybody doing? How's everybody feeling? Incredible. Incredible to be out in New York and be here right now. So happy to be here. Thank you for coming in this little acoustic performance we have here by the sea. It's beautiful. Oh, it's okay. You can bring it back. I like to have it there. It's like a safety blanket or something. I know I'm a weirdo.
Welcome.
My, yeah. Oh, realize I'm on a chain brain vex. Connect and then a few bless. Whether day or night I'm on the street, me town New York City. Let me stop praise your name. Need room to breathe. I wanna feel your ears. I gotta feel your peace. Screaming down on my knees, come on inside bleed. I say my heart's on fire with this all a vampire. Yes, I came here and I'm to inspire. Say close my eyes and take a ride inside. Feel a breeze blow by. I'm making you fly. Bob Nestor said it best. Everything will be alright. Introspect, connect the set and let the music make you fly. Close my eyes and take a ride inside. Breeze blow by. I'm making you fly. Yeah. Higher away. I listen to the wind whistling and channel a sound. Feel like a vacuum bagging up top boom glisten. Not like the sun hits a drum. Curse all of them dome. Rising up from the ground. I'm growing full like the moon. Say, blinded like a tree. Just so them get up and grow. I'm firm like a tree. And I know that's what I know. Now some of them are colors wonderful. Like it was a rainbow. Let me tell you one time now. If you didn't know, I say, close my eyes and take a ride inside. Feel a breeze blow by. I'm making it fly. Bob Nestor said the best. Everything will be alright. Everything will be okay. I see that close my eyes and take a ride inside.
Hi Aram, what's happening?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. We were just do you know Matis Yahoo?
No, what is this?
This is Matis Yahoo is a Jewish reggae superstar, but he's very smooth. So I discovered this new thing called Sugar Shack Session. That's a reggae collective of reggae concerts. It's like Tiny Desk almost, but for reggae. So it's very sweet music. I've been loving it recently. And we have Mati here, GM. How are we doing, gentlemen?
Praise the Lord on this fine day.
Praise the Lord on this fun day. You're not feeling a little bearish that we're gonna crash back to 58K?
No, man, no.
Only up from here.
Look, we've had a strong run. You know, once from the time we popped 70K, or let's say even from election night until today, we're up like 40+%. So, you know, chillax. It's not even been a month yet. It's still November. You know, crash back to last week's prices is the old meme, right? So it's okay. Volatility is baked in the pie. I was looking at it when we were sitting there testing 99. I was like, do we have it? You know, do we have it in us? Like the momentum still, is it still with us? Because there's been a lot of buying pressure to reach that level. And obviously 100K is a very big psychological barrier. So clearly we did not have enough momentum to keep it going and pass that 100K on the first attempt, which is fine. I think that a pullback, you know, towards 75, even building support at 70K would not be bad for Bitcoin. I know that like I told you last week, you know, people are out there desperate. They want to retire their entire bloodline, you know, in a few days over here off $100. It's not going to happen. So just relax and let the market do its thing. The key thing that you need to consider is that we're entering a golden era, an economic boom that I believe will last for centuries. So don't worry about your bloodline; they'll be fine, you know. Just concentrate on what's in front of you. Build things of value, contribute, and not just try and, you know, spend all your day wanking off on pump fund, because that's not going to bring you riches. That's literally the opposite going to do. So yeah, just keep an eye on the markets. Like if we have a pullback, it's fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I think it should be at this point quite expected.
GM area as well. Mati, you're not streaming to your X, so if you want to stream to your X,
yeah, I can stream to my X. And good morning to all of the beautiful humans out there watching us, and to all the sock puppets and the bots. We love you all, so please leave a comment according to your capacity. And good morning to Erie and Aram. I want to tell you that we love guests on our show, and we often abuse our guests. We've had several people try and sue us afterward, so don't take anything to heart. And your presence here signifies your consent on being filmed, and that this goes out to the rest of the world.
As for the disclaimer, we'll get to know our guest in a minute. As we saw, we had a little bit of a debrief from Mati about what happened in the last week. Obviously, for me, I'm watching the Fear and Greed Index, and it's kind of not been at a level like this for a long time. It was around 94 out of 100 last week, which means that we nearly got to as greedy as possible. And you saw the ramifications of that on Pampa, and what's happening over there with all that degeneracy, the people in cages and people threatening to shoot up their chickens and their goats on live stream. So that's, I think, a direct function of all the mania in the price. And now we're cooling down, I think, a little bit with that fear and greed index. We're back to 79. But again, the macro headwinds are too strong over here not to send us higher with the incoming administration. Rate cut, the Fed meeting in a few weeks again to discuss rate cuts. So everything is pointing in the favor of the golden bull. So thank you guys for joining us. Aram and Iri will start alphabetic order. Aram, today is the day that I will learn how to pronounce your surname and not forget it until the end of time.
Jim, everybody, great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Let us know a bit about yourself and especially how to pronounce your surname. It's very exotic.
Yeah, in English it's like Mughalian. In my native language it's different. It's like Mughalian.
Mughalian. That's how you got to pronounce it like the homies do. Mughalian. That's like the GH is like a half sound. It's like a chet in Hebrew.
For French it would be easier because they have r. In English we don't have r, but in French they have a lot of r sounds, so that should be easier.
Yeah, we have a few.
One sound in Hebrew that I can't say is the resh sound.
No, it's not a resh for the chet. Yeah. So tell us, Aram and I actually connected in Singapore, and I mean, obviously, if you're watching it on LinkedIn, you obviously know Aram. If you're watching this on Twitter, then you should get on LinkedIn to know Aram. I think, are you on Twitter at all? Are you on X as well? Or can you just tell us your story about how you got into this kind of becoming such a powerful advocate for Web3?
Yeah, I'm on X too, but I'm not really posting often. I'm on X more to observe what's happening there and then sort of taking the latest insights and then distilling and explaining in a way that non-Indigens would understand on LinkedIn. So I'm a LinkedIn Web3 content creator, and my goal is to bring as many people to Web3 as possible. And I believe that the most people who will come to Web3 will not be the traditional Indigens that we have on Twitter. And in a way, Twitter is kind of becoming a bit of a silo, right? So I think the Web3 users of the future are going to be different, and I'm at the forefront trying to explain to them what Web3 is and do my little part to bring them into Web3. How did I get into Web3? I guess started in 2017 during the 2017 bull. That was 2 bull runs before this one. Just got my first Bitcoin, and then I was not very active. And then I think I started getting very active, getting involved during COVID because I was at home, I was bored. Crypto seemed interesting. Everybody was working remotely. So I really like the promise of crypto that you can be remote, that you can be free, you can do from wherever you want. And I guess that's the point that I really got into crypto full time, and I've never really looked back since. I have been in crypto ever since. So yeah, that's my TLDR.
Sweet. And we welcome also all the way from his beautiful office in Petah Tikva, Zohar as well. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
What about yourself? So how did you, I think we had a bit of a chat, and you have a fascinating way of entering the space. Aram came in from Bitcoin and creation. And Erie, you came in from the publisher side, the ad tech side, so that's why I thought it'd be a good combo over here on the space, because we're two people talking about the attention economy, working in the attention economy, and coming at it from different angles. One as a creator, the other one as a founder in the space. And so maybe give us a little bit of a background about you before we dive into. We'll start off with this week's news. I want to get your guys' feelings, like where your head at in the market. And Mati, I know what Mati takes. Mati's perma bullish as I am. So let's see where you guys are at as well. So welcome to the show, Erie.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here. Yeah, I came from the advertising side, and if you think about it from like an advertising perspective, so Web2 advertising is fully blown, going up. You have the biggest companies in the world like Google and Facebook controlling it, and then when you look at that angle, at Web3, it's amazing. It's blue ocean. Think about the amount of wallets, exchanges, GameFi. They're not showing any ads. It's almost mind-blowing that nobody figured out how to get that, quick math, it's $60 billion inventory, which is untapped. So it's amazing. I was a part of building like the modern ad tech ecosystem, back in the day, early 2000s. And it's amazing to be able to like rebuild that, and then knowing everything I know when you have this massive blue ocean in Web3.
Cool. Thank you so much. And we would love to get more into Bring as well. But first, Aram, you are one of the meme lords of the LinkedIn space. So that's like memes are great at capturing, the zeitgeist, the emotional, air in what the sentiment of the market at the time, and packaging it into something bite-sized that people can chow on. What is a meme that can represent how you're feeling now? What's like your take on where we're at now? We try to break 100K. There was mania in the market. Everyone was buying out, villas, picking out the inside, the rims, the lining on their Lambos. And now we have a little correction. Like, do you think there's something, more serious happening? Are we going to start ranging for a while, or is it back to business before the end of the year? And we're going to start, we're going to see a much higher Bitcoin alt season around the time of the Trump inauguration.
Yeah, I was actually going to post this meme, by the way, I post a lot of memes which really reflect how I feel about the current situation. So I think the current one probably would be that some crypto bro is taking his cat to some posh barber. Yeah, you have to see the meme, but it's like, bro, we have so much money, we don't care about anything. It's like LFG, that's the situation. It's extreme greed, basically. That's the vibes that I'm getting. It's like, okay, we're gonna go to 100K, and when we get to 250K, I'm gonna quit my job. I'm getting this kind of vibes. It's a little bit now. I think Bitcoin is like 93 point something now. But again, it never goes up, right? It has a little bit. Sometimes it gets these small drawbacks, but I think the overall sentiment is very bullish, and there's a lot of greed too. A lot of people are, you get the same things. Like during every bull run, it's the same behavior happening, and this one is no different. I guess that's just part of human psyche. You start using leverages, you go into meme coins, you start doing all these risky bets, you chase that coin that's gonna 100x because Bitcoin is pumping. I'm saying all of these things now. I'm not doing these things, but that's what I'm saying. And I guess that's the sentiment now, and the meme that I just described probably would be a good representation of the current situation.
Yeah, I feel like people are moving down the risk curve at a rate that I've never seen in my life. I mean, my brother's calling me from the doctor's office to know what kind of cartoon meme coin to ape, in between patients. So there's definitely a sort of this risk-taking energy in the air. But how can there not be? People have seen not even Bitcoin gains. I mean, Solana over the last, was at $8 2 years ago, and it's almost 250. Higher than that. I didn't check price, good price today, or MicroStrategy, or some of these coins have run, except for Ethereum. If you're holding Ethereum, thoughts and prayers with you. Hopefully, you'll get your pump. What about you, Iri? What's your take on the last couple of weeks since the orange man came in and pumped the orange coin?
Absolutely, it did. I mean, there's no question that something, the energy is high. I'm seeing like a few indications. One of them is friends of mine that are not in the space or like are not so interested, suddenly become interested. So that's always like a very strong indication. And then also on the business side, we're seeing that, all those companies, the Web2 companies, the big advertisers, big brands, those that we work with suddenly are more interested. I mean, they were fine working with us, but now we were running a promotion with them. They're happy to expose, connect their name to crypto. We're just running a big promotion now with trips.com. We just ran with JBL. So those brands usually would be a little bit hesitant to connect their name to to crypto assets, and suddenly, it's cool again to be connected to crypto.
Yeah, I think that's something we'll discuss a bit later when we talk about brands getting into the space, because obviously, we saw last cycle brands like Nike and different Adidas and all the big brands and the luxury brands and sports brands all get into NFTs, and that sort of didn't really work out. But now we're seeing maybe memes are the way that brands are going to get in, or technology. Like we'll talk about that like that. I don't know if you guys have seen the Chilgar meme, but everyone's posting Chilgar memes. Football teams are posting Chilgar memes, and Real Madrid are posting Chilgar memes, and it's really gone. Like, I think that's it's becoming a lot more, as you said, the social stigma around crypto is getting removed and replaced with acceptance and sort of awe. People are like, okay, you guys were right. Trump is going to buy 1 million coins for the US Strategic Reserve, inshallah. What do you think, Mati? You think the Strategic Reserve will be a thing?
I think you got to post some of these comments.
I did post these comments, but now Jesus, it's been a tough year for the space.
Good morning, Miriam. Good morning, Tal. Good morning to everybody. Yeah, sorry, what were you asking?
Yeah, this is an interesting one. Community burnt out, she says, Miriam. So I understand.
They're not burnt out. You just need to pay them $1 a head, and they'll post whatever you want.
I think there's a and we can maybe start with that. I want to get your guys' take on it. Because Aram, I know you post a lot about not trying to sell Web3 as the buzzwords of blockchain and token. Like, you don't need it. Try and focus on what matters, on solving user issues, on building the community, on delivering value before you make an ask, or actually having that in place first. So I'm curious about what you guys take on the whole. I think what Miriam was referring to, and I kind of resonate with that as someone who's invested in a bunch of utility projects, utility coins. Like, they haven't had the kind of, it's all been all about me. So how do you guys see this the fundraising cycle now? As much you also you're going to doing a pre-sale, and how do you guys see the fundraising? So has the risk taking from memes and Bitcoin trickled down to, let's say, new projects or smaller caps or creating these tokens now?
Like, from what I saw, I actually spoke a few weeks ago to a few investors. It's really interesting to see what the perspective are. But I think a big thing that became a thing this year is the FDV, full diluted value. So investors, in a way, became a little bit more smarter now, and they saw that many projects that they invested in, they didn't think about the FDV element. And then those projects started to generate or throw into the market, millions and millions of their tokens, and that dropped the price down. So they now want to fully understand, that become the first, gate opener. What's your FDV? And they have like the rule of thumb. And currently, whatever pre-seed, it should be no more than $20-30 million. A TG should be no more than like $100 million. So that becomes I wonder if that number is just going to go up now because of the this new bull run.
Yeah. Well, I can say that November 6th, right, day after the election, one of my close business partners is into oil and gas. He's like, uh, and he's been complaining for a while now that things were a bit dry. And then as soon as Trump won the election, like, man, you would not believe I have no time to pee. My phone is ringing off the hook because suddenly, there was confidence in the market. And yeah, it takes time for the full effects of the Fed rate cycle and the deregulation that we're about to see. And therefore, I believe that I mean the Bitcoin pumping 40% in less than a month is good, and it's fun to have some bags again and stuff to play around with. But the full effect of VCs, coming back to where we were in 2020, 2019 era, like back then, like all you needed was a team and a pitch deck, and you could raise 250K in a weekend. So that'll take a while until we're back there, if we ever do. And I think to Ari's point, investors are a lot smarter now than they were then. I think that even the retail investors, I mean, people who are into meme coins, whatever, they understand that they're gambling for the most part. And they understand, they play around with small amounts of money that they're willing to lose. But I think that the people who are more serious about investing in long-term projects that, they want to see materialize over the next few years, they know how to do their homework better. They've had their hands burned. They know how to look for that. And I think the projects themselves are more resilient now because they've built through a bear market. They know what it means. They understand that prices don't always go up, and they can't really rely on that. Except for Michael Saylor, of course, who thinks that prices are going to go up forever. And um, we'll see about that.
He's willing it. He doesn't think it. He's willing it. With the amount of macro strategy haters that I've seen on the timeline recently is just off the charts. Like the higher you go, the more high profile cope you attract. And I think Sailor's gone extremely high over the last couple months, and that's why there's just this like fireball of hate that's been directed at him. People are publicly placing shorts, and let them. They're going to get burnt. They're going to have to cover at a much higher price because, although with MicroStrategy, I think there's some caution. Anything Sailor says, some caution is best observed in anything you do in the crypto space. If you've been through that kind of bull to bear shift, you know that there's a point where you think it's going up forever and we're all geniuses and this is the next future revolution of the internet, and then something happens.
Crashes are a result
yeah.
of people thinking that the prices are going to go up forever. I mean, think about like the 2008 housing crisis, for example. Like people just they got so leveraged because they thought the housing prices can't go down; they always go up. And what happens is markets go up and markets go down, which is why so many people are getting caught by surprise when it went from 99K to 93. They're like, "What the fuck? How could this happen?" Well, the prices go both ways, so you got to be prepared for that. And I don't know, like MicroStrategy for me is like one of the most risky things that you could do. It's not nearly the same as holding your own Bitcoin. I don't know at this point. I've tried to look into it a few times, but who's holding the keys, right? Is Michael Saylor holding, a discount
Coinbase? I think they're custodying it with Coinbase. Like BlackRock, if Brian Armstrong's guys like wake up and forget who they are, they have a amnesia attack, and we're all very, very screwed.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I definitely see that as a centralization risk, but that's not just MicroStrategy. 10 out of 11, I think, of the ETFs are holding with Coinbase. So, like what does Coinbase have there that's got like, a decent chunk, maybe a couple, 3, 4, 5% of the supplies is currently with Coinbase.
So that is a huge systemic risk, obviously. As we know, every custodial solution is prone to hacking. And I would be surprised if, probably half of the world's hacking resources are currently directed towards Coinbase at this moment in time. And therefore, regulated, not regulated, as much as they put in fail safes, it's got there is the possibility of a smash and grab operation over there. But my point about MicroStrategy is that every time somebody says, okay, this is leveraged Bitcoin buying, I'm going to say that that's dangerous. I'm sorry, but it's just dangerous.
So I'll take the other end of that argument for now. I think you're right. On a maybe on a long-term view, like I think, maybe as 800% of your portfolio, like you got people out there calling for buying MicroStrategy only and no Bitcoin, like that's pretty crazy. But that being said, it's very natural, as Aram said, people are going to move down the risk curve as the bull market starts. Like we've broken the previous all-time high. We're about to hit 100K. There's nothing but sky above us. People are naturally going to want to juice up their returns with some Bitcoin beta plays. And I think there's nothing better on the market right now for a Bitcoin beta play than MicroStrategy. Tapping into trillions of dollars in bond and stock demand for Bitcoin that can't access it otherwise. Like, their biggest purchaser of their last convertible note issuance was Allianz, the biggest insurance company in the world, really. So it shows you, and they paid 0% interest to own the MicroStrategy convertible. So it shows you just how big the demand is for that asset, for this kind of fiat black hole that Sailor's created. And you got copycats now. Rumble just bought $20 million worth of Bitcoin for the treasury. Semler Scientific. You have MetaPlanet in Japan. You have companies announcing day and night that they're buying Bitcoin, but none of them have that popping of options and futures and leverage ETF and convertible notes. All these, corporate finance tools to actually make Bitcoin into this sort of the base level of the next financial system, and the market's responding in kind. So I think if you're in MicroStrategy, congrats. But also always keep in mind, that leverage is leverage at the end of the day, and it's what brought down FTX, and it's what brought down the 2008 crisis, and it's what brought down, the roaring 20s. Like every speculative bubble goes out of hand when people start over leveraging, because then you're putting at risk everything and you can get wiped out very quickly. So be careful, be very aware of what you're doing, but MSTR to the moon with that being said. So let's go on to our main topic of the day, and that's the attention economy. Attention is money. Aram, you understand this from LinkedIn, and Iri, you understand this from the publishers that are looking to monetize the attention that they have, the advertisers that are looking to come in to the market and capture that attention, especially in Web3, where you can see where people are paying attention quite literally, because you can target specific wallets in a way that, okay, this guy is a wallet that is buying very active on DEXs, on NFTs, and he's surfing the web over here. So you can create profile of spending profile that you can then target as well. So there's a whole world of possibilities opening up. So let's start maybe with your take, your introduction, how you see the attention economy specifically in the Web3 context, but not only. And we'll start with you, Aram.
Yeah. I think for Web3, attention is much more important than for Web2. If you look at Web2, how we value assets, it's primarily done by these fundamentals, right? Like how you value stock. Like you have a whole bunch of Wall Street analysts. They look at the financial reports, they make projections, you look at the cash flows. So it's a lot based on the fundamentals, and it's a very mature field. But if you look at Web3, if you really look at the financial performance of most chains, they're like in the red zone. They're not even profitable. If you count the token emissions as cost, they're not profitable. I'm talking about from Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not profitable, and we're talking about Ethereum. It was profitable for a short period of time, and it was dubbed as ultrasound money. But then you had the Dencon upgrade, and now it's inflationary again, right? So it switched from being deflationary asset to being inflationary again. Maybe at some point in the future it'll become deflationary again, but that's not the case now, right? And I'm not even talking about other chains which are new, and obviously they're a lot more inflationary, right? So in crypto, we don't really use fundamentals. We use narratives. It's all about narratives, narratives, narratives. Um, and how do you drive the narrative? It's all about which token can capture the attention, right? If you look at Bitcoin, there's nothing. How do I say? There's nothing very unique about it. Everybody can go. Everybody can fork. Probably there's around like a whole bunch of Bitcoin forks that are technologically probably even better than Bitcoin. But why is the Bitcoin Bitcoin? Because everybody believes in that, and everybody's attention is on Bitcoin and not on Doge or some other, like Bitcoin Cash or some other fork, right? That's the only reason. So the only competitive advantage of Bitcoin is that everybody else believes that Bitcoin is valuable. That's it. So it's this attention economy that you are saying, which is pretty much the only competitive advantage. That's the only mode that most of the Web3 projects have. Because in Web3, unlike in Web2, where most of the software that we have are closed source, where like it's mostly open source, everybody can go, everybody can fork most of the protocols. So the only like truly competitive advantage they have is the community. And when I say community, it's also the attention, because if there is community, but this community can generate attention about a certain project, then nobody really cares about you. So it's really this idea that if everybody's paying attention to something, then it becomes valuable. And if people don't care about it, you're going to die. And that's why 99.9% of all the meme coins and a lot of other projects, they have very short span where they really get attention, and then it just withers away and they all die. So yeah, in Web3, attention is pretty much everything, and it's a very different from what we see in Web2.
Agreed. And I'll take actually a different angle, so maybe we will complete each other. But when I'm thinking about attention, I think about from my angle, which is thinking about the advertising media, which exists there, and the potential, and all those users, which are this amazing profile, young people. Numbers are very big now. I think the stats are 600 million people, or like users, some interaction with crypto, tech savvy. Many of them more affluent, so really interesting audience. And then when you wanna, I agree with you, Dudu, about your points about the data element and how strong you could target. But I'm saying let's think about the basic for a second. You have the actual media. First of all, you need to put ads somewhere. You have the attention of users, and then you need to be able to first of all communicate with them, and then target better. Put the right message in front of the right user. And in that aspect, just think about the wallets and the exchanges and the GameFi as the gatekeepers. So all those communities, at the end of the day, the users are actually physically using some wallets, under each ecosystem, under each blockchain. The wallets that support the blockchain, especially when talking about non-EVM, where you have to have your own set of tools. So wallets, DeFi tools, games, whatever. And the opportunity there is massive. And I think the transition that the world needs to go into and didn't go to yet is that you have to think, based maybe on the Web3 narrative, Web3 ethos. We have to think differently. You can't just think about users as a product and just show him ads and getting him to buy, which is the Web2 narrative, because you're not going to get cooperation. Wallets are not going to install you. The exchange is not going to work with you, and you can physically look. There are no ads if you look at those UIs now. And I think the change of concept which is going on now, and I think that's going to make the big shift, is that you have to share the wealth with users. You have to do good to the community. You have to think about, as opposed to telling users, buy at Gap, there's amazing prices. You should say something like, when you buy at Gap, you can earn ADA. And that becomes something which then the Cardano community wants to embrace. Or, instead of saying, follow us on Twitter to get updated, and say something like, earn Caspa when you follow an advertiser. So I think, there needs to be like a shift of mind, instead of just, pushing the user to buy and getting money out of the user. offering the user to earn, and needs to be in the specific blockchain that you want to influence. If you have in each blockchain, I think should be able to offer its own like income opportunities or rewarding opportunities for its users, and that would get the first term, which is getting you the actual real estate. You've been able to show yourself to get the basic term to get attention, being able to have the UI where you can show your message. And once you crack that, then we need to talk about the data and this amazing opportunity. But first, get the big tools where users spend their time to show ads. And that transition, I think, is what we're going to see in the next few years.
Yeah, for sure. I love your examples of coins as Cardano and Casper. Shout out to the Cardano and Casper maxis out there at home. But I want to kind of go back into, more practical, as we say. And, both of you guys, Aram just told me a second ago to introduce him as the head of go-to-market and strategy at Flipside. So congrats on that. I knew Aram was working a bit with Flipside, and I actually worked with Flipside about 4 years ago, right? So we'll hear about Flipside a little bit from Aram, what it is you're doing. Give us a little bit of an intro, and then I want to hear from Meir, Erie Zohar about Bring, and especially you've got some cool new stuff that you're working on as well to bring on advertisers from Web 2 into. Everyone wants the big names. Everyone wants the Pumas, the Adidas, the Nikes, the Samsung to come into Web3. And Erie just might have a way to get them there. So, Aram, let's start with you. Congrats, first of all, on the new role, on the new gig. May it bring you tremendous success. And it's always good to see, brands that you've worked with in the past, like still around, growing, bringing on good people.
Yeah, thanks a lot. What Flipside does essentially is it's using data and data science to drive narratives on social media and also do on-chain activations to help some of the biggest blockchains and protocols grow. Essentially, it's a data science-driven grow company, and it's been working with some of the top, chains out there and other protocols.
Yeah, that's cool. So it's like sort of like Kaito AI in a way. Have you seen Kaito AI? That's all the rage these days. What
It's
this similar product?
it's a little different. So the way you think about it is that let's say you're a blockchain, right? So we get all the data about that blockchain, and then we make the data available to a community of more than 180,000 analysts. And then we incentivize that analyst to push a narrative on social media. And this is the tension that we have been discussing earlier in this live stream, right? So in this way, the community, the people on different social media platforms start learning about your project, and then you start getting attention. The second part is that, so this is the social activation. The second part is the on-chain activation. And the way it works is that the company has proprietary wallet scoring algorithm. And what it does is it uses a whole bunch of like different quests and other on-chain activation programs that help it attract users, activate these users, and help these different blockchains retain these users. And this is very important because one of the biggest problems in Web3 is that, let's say you are a blockchain, you are doing a TG, right? You somehow manage to get all the attention, okay? You somehow manage to have the users come to your chain, and let's say they just bridge some liquidity or they do a whole bunch of on-chain activities. But then once the TG happens, everybody dumps your token, and then they leave your chain and you become a ghost chain. And this is the problem that, like, I think we have, again, like we discussed earlier. So what we do is that we use the data science in a way to incentivize these wallets to stick around and dramatically improve the lifetime value and retention of the chains, which I think is one of the biggest problems. Because when you have a TG and then all these users leave your chain, you basically just give away a lot of value. It tanks your market cap, token price, and ultimately, like it it lets a lot of users disappointed, like these loyal users who were like, okay, I'm going to stick on this chain, when let's say the majority of users are airdrop farmers or not ethical players. When they dump your token, it's really affecting those who were loyal community members. So this is just again one example of the things that we work with.
Yes, I hear you. I think the community activation is, it's my personal view. Like I've been around a few projects in the space, to see how it works from the inside. Like when you're a trader, when you're like a retail trader, you're just scrolling YouTube or WhatsApp or Twitter or LinkedIn. You're seeing projects pop up. Oh, this is exciting. This has a lot of people. I've got to see how it works from the inside with the KOLs and these activation platforms and the bot armies and the different, different tools and techniques that people use. And I think that's a nice accelerant, having the airdrops that you mentioned and having different KOLs, different like not what we would call organic. Obviously, everyone dreams of being like a chill guy or dreams of being backed by some of the biggest VCs and recent horror A16Zs of the world that can just push them, with Arthur Hayes and Ansem on the timeline. But for most the ones that aren't, they can use these techniques to accelerate. But as you mentioned, the baseline has to be sustainable community growth and building a cult around your product, getting people interested using it, and getting people, building that loyalty. I think that's very hard to build in Web3 when you have 700 different tickers clamoring for your attention every single second.
I'd really like to understand a bit better here. I feel like Eric Cartman, like step one, you have data science. Step three, profits. So what's the middle here? How do you use data science to create a more engaged community and not let your users leave, so to speak?
Yeah, basically, every wallet, like what do we do? Let's say we just scan all the wallets on the chain, right? And then every wallet has a different score, and different wallets with different scores behave very differently. So, for example, if you are doing a campaign that you want to track liquidity, what usually happens is that let's say you design a quest, and that quest, everybody gets the same quest, and everybody gets the same rewards, right? So a large number of them are unethical users or airdrop farmers or bots. And these are the people that are the bad actors that leave the chain, right? So what we do is that when we assign scores, we say not everybody is the same, and not everybody is going to get the same incentives. So it's essentially depending on your wallet score, which is a proxy for how credible you are, how likely you are to stay on the chain and become a loyal users. We do this customized approach, customized on-chain activation programs. So essentially, we incentivize the good guys, and we try to stay away from the bad guys. And in such a way, when you drive on-chain activation campaigns, it's resulting in a much higher retention rate. And then some of the people, let's say, who I don't want to go into a lot of technical details, but there's also this group of wallets which we understand that they have a potential to become loyal users, but they need the right type of incentives. So for these ones, we try to give the incentives to grow their wallet score and basically improve the lifetime value. So basically, we just look at the current.
I mean, you're rewarding people for activity. Is that the idea? I mean, rewarding people for engagement, right? I mean,
Yes.
So this is a bot farm, basically.
It's what?
It's a bot farm.
That's an anti-bot farm. He's saying you're rewarding the real people that are
real people. Real people.
You're using the data science to filter out the low quality. You can use the data science to identify who's likely to churn, who's just like hunting the airdrop and going versus who's coming to actually be and build on your chain to stay and create value.
Exactly. And if you look at the chains that
I accept my checks in USDT on base if you want, or you can send me Floki Inu.
That also works, yeah. If you look at the chains, there's a lot of similarities. The wallets who dump the tokens and then they move, essentially they're the airdrop farmers. And basically they have very similar scores and very similar on-chain behaviors. So when we scan all these wallet addresses, and by the way, like the wallet score is it's not something static, it's something that's changing all the time, and it's possible to change. It's not easy, but it's possible to change the wallet, because when you change the wallet score, you are basically increasing the lifetime value and retention rate, right? So what we do is we essentially identify the wallets that are they have high likelihood of not sticking around, and we're not really giving them incentives, and we're giving incentives to those who, let's say, are these undecided voters, okay, and to those who are like, okay, you know what, these are the wallets with, well, we can call them whales or high value wallets. And this small number of wallets actually are driving a lot of liquidity, a lot of volume, and they bring a lot of activity to the chain.
And how do you know though? Like, I mean, I guess people don't create new wallets for every. Are you just looking at their history and what they've done on other chains, and where does that kind of, how do you use that?
Yeah, for some chains, for example, I don't know, like, for example, if you're incompatible, you have your it's harder to connect different wallets. So we essentially try to do all. So the way we assign wallet scoring, it's multi-chain. So if we see different wallets on different chains, they have different behaviors, we're definitely taking it into account. But for example, I mean, sometimes it's hard to connect Bitcoin and Ethereum wallets, right? So sometimes we only look at the on-chain history of the wallet for one chain. Sometimes if we see this wallet is active across multiple chains, we also take that into account.
Okay, thank you for that, Aram. It's very much changed since I remember Flipkart. It's great to see you taking the activation route as well. I think for me, distribution is everything, and I've said it a million times in Web3. Like the companies, the creators, the little bands of the DAOs that have distribution will be able. Once you have distribution, you can tell anything to your community, and that's why it's so crucial for all these. They say like the base layer, the chain layer is becoming commoditized with all the layer twos out there. And, the winners, I think, of the next wave of crypto products and projects would be those that are closest to the user, to the paying user, those that are building, growing those communities that interface with the users, not the abstract, because like the abstract away the chain, and the community activation is key to that. Let's move on to Erie and Bring. Would love to hear about I've heard obviously about Bring. It's been a while since I heard, so maybe there's been some development that I need to hear about. So let me see it. You want to share your screen, put it up there, and give it to us.
Thank you so much. Let me put up my screen. Yeah, but the short version of what we do is pretty simple. And we go to to wallets, to exchanges, and we offer them to offer cash back to the users in crypto. And then we have signed up really a massive amount of brands and retailers. We have covered now on more than 16,000 retailers and brands, a lot of really nice names, which you can see here. And the message is very strong. I mean, we work with all the blockchains, so a bunch of examples, but let's say work with, Casper. So, the message is, shop at HBO and earn CSPR, or on your next trip that you book on trip.com or on Expedia, you can earn ADA and so on. Work with Aurora, we have a deal with Starkware, which are investors, so a bunch of additional that are coming. And the user experience, I think, is very nice. Let me do like a very quick demo. But for example, let's say you want to buy some sneakers in StockX. So you go to StockX, you start shopping, and then your wallet.
Those are nice sneakers. I like these ones. The Jordans Retro, $151. Those look cool.
Okay, send me your address.
on
Send me your address. You're gonna get them. Just send me your address. My pleasure, right? Anyway, so your wallet pops up. That's one of the wallets we have live now, Jira Wallet, and simply offering you to earn cashback, and you don't even never even have to do anything about it. You just install the wallet, and that's it. You in StockX or in Gap or in Expedia and all of those names you saw. Your wallet would pop up, says, they do, ADA, so it's ADA, but every wallet would offer whatever token it supports, and just need to click, let's go, approve, legal terms, and that's it. Just go, you buy your shoes, and a few minutes later, you're going to see, I'll show you how it looks, but a few minutes later, you're going to see the cashback you've earned right in your wallet. So really very elegant. See everything basically sits here. That's how much pending rewards I have. I can see all the pending rewards I have from stuff I bought in the past. And then it sits there. Once I
Priced in ADA, like every good thing in this world should be.
Exactly.
So I thought that's sorry to interrupt the flow, but I think this is a very important question. And I think it's a great place to kick off around stage 2 of the discussion. And then who's paying for these cashback transactions? How does that work behind the scenes?
Yeah.
And thank you to Stabano06. Stabano has been asking good questions here. How many weeks is it, Mighty? This guy comes in with bangers.
As always.
Always. He's definitely not a bot. You have a understanding of human nuance that is very human at the moment for now. Yeah. Like maybe even AR. Yeah.
Absolutely. So the answer is actually very simple. The retailers are paying for it, and actually everybody's making money. That's what's beautiful about our business model. So let's say you go to Gap, you buy some shirts at Gap. Gap is going to pay, some fee for this transaction that you just bought a bunch of shirts, and then 20% goes to the wallet, so they make money. So on top of offering this very nice service to the users, they make money. Other 20% goes to us. We need to feed our employers here also. And then 60% goes to the user. And we actually, we get the fiat from the retailer. We trade it for the specific token that the wallet chose. So again, Kaspa, AIDA, Sol, whatever, the wallet chose, and the user gets it. And by the way, this means that also it's a good thing for projects to work with us.
What about Bitcoin? What if I want Bitcoin cash back?
Yeah, Bitcoin. I'm saying it could be any. We support now more than 1,800 tokens. Of course, Bitcoin is one of them. But the wallet chooses. So the wallet is the boss. So it's white label. User sees the wallet, installs it. We are at the back end. So the user tells us, the wallet tells, I want Bitcoin or ETH or Solid. They could choose, and we implement it. The wallet chooses how the users are rewarded. But what blockchains really like about this is that it creates like a buying pressure on the token. Because think about, we're getting dollars, right, fiat from the retailers, and we're buying the tokens on the market, sending them to the users. So also buying pressure on the token.
But surely drip feeding from fiat into crypto. I like it. How is it different than Lolly, for example? I mean, I know that Lolly has been doing this for quite a while. What are your advantages to them?
The simple answer is like this. We enable any wallet to become a Lolly competitor.
Okay. So what is that, just a better user experience then, or?
First of all, the size is much bigger. I mean, Lolly, I think, has like 60,000 active users. You can check on the Chrome store. Some of the wallets we work with have more than 1 million. So wallets have massive user base, much bigger than the Lolly user base. Each wallet by itself. Look at all like the big wallets under each one of the big, blockchains. And so each one of them can become like, 10 times Lolly by just installing our system. So, volume-wise, you can compare it. Also, Lolly limits you. You can only get either like a Bitcoin or USD. And we're totally open. So each wallet can offer whichever tokens it really cares about.
Cool. So
Stabano says the truth. Yeah, Stabano says the truth. First of all, the sneakers were $151. But he said the truth. If you're trying to send, ETH is becoming expensive. I'm gonna, personally, I do a lot of stable coin stuff. Getting payments, sending payments, and I've been doing them on ETH and no more. I think it's just ETH is becoming stupid expensive, and it's right. That's why Cardano do your cashback on Cardano or BSC or any other cheap chain. So this is, I think, what Erie was talking about, the ability to give people other chains to choose from, other tokens to choose from as cashback, allows you to skip the whole $5 fees for a $5 transaction situation on Ethereum.
But there's also a solution for Ethereum. There's also one for Ethereum, which is we basically augment all the profits of each user, like in the Omni wallet, which we take care of, and then user can pull, his rewards only when there's enough there. So you can do a bunch of buying. We have like $100 worth of Ethereum. After whatever, it could be a few months. It's waiting for you. And then when you put it on chain, you already have enough there where the gas fees don't matter so much.
Got it. So,
Yeah.
Mati, any? This is your time to come in with questions about things you understand or don't understand about the model. What do you think of bringing in?
How do we know that we can trust you? Like, how do we know that your code's not going to come in and infiltrate the system and steal all my proprietary data on my computer or my crypto?
Well, that's actually your wallet. Meaning, remember, we're just like the cashback mechanism inside the wallet. So you trust a specific wallet, you install that wallet installed us as a component. So we don't have any access into your computer. It's an API. The wallets which sits in your computer, which you trust, use our API to offer of that service. Make sense?
Sure.
Yeah. So we got some questions from the audience. I've never had so many questions. It's just like boom, 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 boom. More. We've got more speakers than panelists. I think the LinkedIn. One guy's been tagging on LinkedIn. He asked if we have a YouTube link. We definitely do have a YouTube link, and we have. Let's start off from this question from Miriam. Can you white label if you want to create a marketplace for a different vertical? I'm not sure what she's referring to essentially, but I think it's
if you want to create a marketplace for a different vertical, meaning not crypto. I mean, bring her on. Miriam, come on the podcast.
Same thing that I want to know is can we co-opt your solution and say, okay, this is the Greenspan solution, and we just take your kind of service and repackage it for our customers.
So our target partners are wallets, exchanges, mostly like sexes, and GameFi. Those are three most our main target medias, because they have massive user bases, many of them. It makes a lot of sense that the relationship with the users is one that makes sense, that they would offer users cashback. I mean, if you have a wallet exchange, that's clear. Also, if you're a game, you're basically going to offer your own game tokens as cashback, so a way for you to gain, game tokens and then game assets as a player. So that's where we're focusing. We might expand in the future, but I'm not sure. There's so much to do in where we focus. I'm not sure we're gonna look at elsewhere.
So no, sorry, Miriam. The answer is no, but that's also fine.
Absolutely. When I say that wallets really like us, it's something which took us time to understand, like a side effect of what we do. So many of the Chrome extension wallets, you would look at the Chrome store, you'd see they have 1 million active users. But many of these users are not really active. They might have installed the wallet, but forgot about it. And then now we make that wallet live again. So your wallet, which you didn't touch for a few months, suddenly you go to Expedia and it says you can now earn ETH just for shopping in Expedia, and you click it, and then your wallet is live again. So we also, get dormant users to become live users.
Okay, let's get to this question, and then we'll take closing thoughts. How do communities plug into this and to businesses? Like, how am I I think he means maybe as a retailer, and also maybe you can touch on how you see big brands adopting this. When you said businesses, talk about also small businesses, but most importantly, Puma or Nike or Samsung using something like this to give cash.
Sure. First of all, we are working with Nike and with Samsung, so there are merchants. We're not with Puma yet, but Samsung and Nike, yeah. And I mean, Code, I have to admit that we are approaching them. We don't have any of the big brands yet approaching us, so we're approaching them, explain the opportunity, and they like it. And the integration is relatively easy because we work with like third-party systems and we have all those integrations in place, so it doesn't take so much time for us to like onboard a new retailer. For community to join us, or like a blockchain, so typically they would approach us. That's actually we have ones that are beginning to approach us because the name is out there now. And it's actually very easy to integrate with us. There's a few options, depending, if they're Chrome extension, if they're a mobile wallet, if they can exchange. We have a set of documents, and it's not a big deal. They integrate us, and it's live. It's all templates, basically.
Cool. So thank you for that. Thank you, everyone, for listening in. Thank you to our sponsors, the wonderful DLT Law, your partners for all things compliance and regulatory in Web3, helping you build responsibly. Aram, Iri, Mati, thank you for joining us. It was a delicious conversation. I think a lot of focus on actual building, and it was nice to kind of have a chat that isn't euphoria inspired. Like we've been getting the opium injected direct to the vein since the election. Everything's pumping, and it's nice to kind of have a little consolidation so we can talk big picture. So thank you for coming on. Before we jump off, is there anything else you would like to share? Any tips for the future? What trends are you watching? Tickers you want to drop? Anything else? Now's your time.
I would say from my perspective, don't try to time the market. A lot of people, what they're doing is they're trying to sell when it's at the peak and they're waiting for it to go down and buy. And what they don't realize, they really miss out on a lot of gains. Don't try to time the market like everybody tried, unless you're like professional day trader, whatever, like which is like 0.1% of people. Don't try, just buy and hold, and just have some conviction, and it's gonna really make you. It's gonna take you to a nice place. That probably would be the best advice that I would give to others. And just try to stay away from casino and gambling, because again, if you look at the people who gamble on Pump.fun, a tiny minority of wallets make all the money, and then the vast majority of users, they lose all the money or they make zero money at best. So trading is a zero-sum game, and only mostly insiders and other people who are like really good at that, they make the money. And then most of the people who come to meme coin trading hoping to make money, they just get burned. So crypto is risky. Yeah.
And try not to endorse sin. That's a big one, right?
Yeah.
Just try it.
Maybe I'll back up Aram, which I really identify with his words, and say that once you choose, which tokens you want to handle. I mean, you could take just a Bitcoin, but if you want to be a little bit smarter on risk, then you should really think about the economic value of the token. So don't be tempted to just look at the hype. Think of the real, essence in that token. Of course, we're working on our little token, but I advise anybody before invest to think if there's real substance beyond the fluff that you see on top of it.
Yeah, for me personally, I agree with Jonathan Oily in the chat, and with Aram what you said. I think have conviction in BTC. BTC, the money of the future, and people should be. If you haven't had your interest peaked already, get it checked. Make sure you learn about BTC. Now's the time. That being said, everything else, as we mentioned, the getting low on the risk curve, going to much more riskier stuff like we talked about, MicroStrategy and meme coin. It's worth playing around with. Small amounts of your portfolio, but it's worth investing your time into it, because even though I might not have hit big on memes yet, but I'm coming across different products, ways to launch tokens. I'm coming across AI agent platforms that let you incubate your own AI agents. MicroStrategy, in the time I've held MicroStrategy. I've learned about a convertible note, and I've learned about what a leap is and what an ATM is, and I've learned how corporate finance works just from trying to understand how Sailor is going to pump my bag. So it's worth investing time in these things because
Okay.
the information that you can't get out of it, and that you can't really educate yourself unless you have skin in the game. You can't keep up. You're not. There's a million things to keep up with as it is. You're only going to keep up with the things that where you like care about whether you won or lost, even if it's a 2 basis points of your portfolio, but it gets you interested. Like, so that's what I'm saying. Look at the, I look at the money that I spend on, on anything risky. I look at it. It's school fees. You're learning about the future of finance, technology, innovation. So do it responsibly. Don't drink and ape. Maybe do. I don't know if it's a good kicker. Mati, anything from you to close us off before we say goodbye?
We're good, man. That was a great conversation.
Okay, thank you guys. Have a wonderful day. We had a lot of guests today. I hope you come back next week. Next week we have addressable, stuff from addressable. Also in the ad tech space, but a little bit different. It's sort of a marriage of Flipside and Bring in a way that they let you target, data science for Web3 advertiser targeting. So we're gonna have him with Wrapped BTC. Wrapped is a friend from the Bitcoin ecosystem. We're going to be learning about ordinals and runes a little bit more, talking about all that. So stay tuned. And then hopefully the week after, we have the big Michael Eisenberg interview. For those of you who don't know, Michael Eisenberg is a VC partner of Aleph Capital. He is the biggest, one of the biggest voices, both in English and Hebrew in Israel, in everything to do with investment, the relationship between government and business, and he's really, really, top of the line. And recently had a tweet about Bitcoin, trying to wake up the Israeli government to take Bitcoin crypto more seriously. But we'll have a chance to ask him about that. We'll ask him if there's any coins, what's on his watch list, if he's tracking Chilgar or not, and we will get the scoop on that. So thank you everyone for tuning in. I'll see you next week on the Breakfast Show.
Thank you. We will.
Thank you.